Right, hello, and welcome to a very, I don't even know what this is going to be, but I'm just going to give you a warning now. I am not okay. I am probably about 45, I hope I'm 45 fucking seconds from my period because if it doesn't come soon, this is going to be the last you see of me, I swear to God. Full transparency, I am 8 days off of stopping smoking cigarettes, and this is basically what this podcast is going to be about. Now, I had hoped, when I'd planned this podcast a couple of days ago, I had hoped to come here full of joy, full of beans, and just like, yay, I did it, it's possible, guys, we're gonna be okay. I feel balls to the wall, fucking insane, okay? And I'm going to do this podcast anyway, because who knows, it might be helpful for some people. But what I'm going to say is, as much as right now, at this point, I haven't smoked, you can probably hear in my voice and see, if I've got my sunglasses on, you know it's a bad day for me, right? But I haven't smoked yet. But honestly, I just feel like I want to finish this podcast and have 5 cigarettes in a row. Anyway, let me start this from the beginning because, this is a story and a half. I don't even really know where to start this, but I am going to start with, I have smoked for a very long time. Most of you who know me, you know I love ganja. I will always smoke weed. It is probably one of my favourite things in the world. However, I have been smoking cigarettes a lot lately, to the point where I am nearly spending £500 a week on cigarettes. Okay, I think we can all, no, a week, sorry, God, that was crazy. I should have just, like, 500 a month, okay? I mean, that is just as crazy, but that would have been crazier. But £500 a month, I am pretty much spending every month on cigarettes. And this, I'm not going to lie, was probably my main reason for doing this. Now, it's not because I'm poor, but it is because it is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, I'm not a fucking idiot, although you feel like one when you do the maths and you realise this is what you're spending. And I don't know why, it's like I can't do it anymore. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to be that stupid anymore. Full transparency, if I lived in a place like Egypt or somewhere, I'd smoke 40 a day, happily, because it's like 40p a fucking box of cigarettes. But when it's £14 a box and I'm smoking a box a day, I think we can all agree it's just bloody stupid. Anyway, so it had got to the point where I have just basically had enough of myself. And my kids hate it. They don't hate it, but it's one thing they get on my tits about. And I don't know if that's because that's the only thing they could get on my tits about, because in the grand scheme of things, I don't really do anything else, but they're on me about it. And I don't know. When I started all of this, one of the things I really, really wanted was to be able to tell my children that I had stopped smoking. Like, anyway, we'll get to that part in a minute. But that's basically why I have got to this place. I'm just like, I'm spending far too much money. My kids don't like it, and I should be doing better for myself. I almost look at things like this like a form of self-harm, because it's like, you know it's wrong, you know it's bad for you, why would you continue to do it? It must just be because you, on some sort of level, dislike yourself. I don't know, but then I feel like I don't dislike myself. I feel like I'm really good with the self-love. I don't know, and I'm really sorry, because I did say this podcast was going to be a mess. Like, I literally feel on the verge of tears, and the only reason I haven't given into a cigarette yet is because, well, one, it's been 8 days. And 2, I feel like if I can just get my period, and because we all know what it feels like the day of and the day before your period, you just feel insane. Everything feels far too much. You feel like you can't handle anything, and that is exactly how I feel now. Honestly, I was ready to give up this podcast. That's why you didn't get a podcast from me last week, and I promised myself I would do this weekly. I promised myself I'd be consistent, and I have been. Since I started this, I have showed up every week. And then last week, I didn't. I'd had a week off from the children, which, let me start by saying that as well. Like, I don't really get much time away from the children. And honestly, that's why I've never really tried to stop the smoking thing before, because it's not fair to put my children through that. Like, honestly, I turn into a grade A psychopath. It is horrible. But because I know that kind of whole psychopathic feeling only lasts for the 72 hours while the nicotine's making its way out of your system, I just knew I just needed 72 hours. So the kids had gone to their dad's for a week, and I was just like, I'm going to make this happen, right? So that's why I decided now to do it. I kind of felt like it was now or never. Now, honestly, I think that's, again, the reason why I can't now backtrack, because I feel like I would have wasted my week off. Honestly, I took the little money I had, out of my savings to take myself on holiday that week because it was literally my only opportunity. And instead of going on holiday, because I knew I'd just fucking smoke on the holiday, I basically locked myself in my house and did this smoking detox and spent all that money on things like fucking infrared saunas and massages. And if you ever saw the pile of vitamins I bought last week, honestly, I wouldn't say it's a waste of money, but I just feel like now I could never have done all of that to now go back to smoking cigarettes. Like, that's why I feel like I want to cry, because I'm just like, you can't do all of that and then backtrack. Anyway, I kind of like wrote a little thing for this, and I'm gonna try and follow that along so this kind of makes a little bit of sense. But those of you who follow me, you will know I actually stopped smoking. I've smoked pretty much, I'm not gonna say all my life, because I did not come out of the womb with a cigarette. But I started smoking at the age of 14, and I have pretty much, barring a 5-year break, I have smoked every day since then. Now, that 5-year break actually came about 10 years ago. I don't know if any of you have heard of Carr, not the comedian, but there is this smoking clinic, a stop smoking clinic, and it was founded by this guy called Carr, and he calls it the easy way. It's called Carr's Easy Way to Stop Smoking. I'm pretty sure if you're a smoker, you've probably heard of it. You might not, however, have done the course, but most people who do the course, they actually stop smoking, and they just stop smoking forever. Now, there is a very small percentage of people who go back to it, and they're really good, like, because this course is quite expensive, but they're like, if you go back, come back on the course, we'll give you another go. And for most people, that does the job. But like I said, there is a small handful of people who this doesn't work for. Now, I don't even know which handful of people I fall into, because I did this course about 10 years ago, and it was life-changing. Like, honestly, it was so... First of all, it's so clever what they do on that course. Like, honestly, it's almost criminal the way the NHS and the government kind of promotes to you how you can stop smoking through all their silly means, which are basically just keeping you addicted to the drug and don't actually help you. But this course, this Alan Carr course, it just gives you all the tools you need and kind of basically sets your mindset up so I don't know, you almost feel very stupid for smoking once you've done the course, if that makes any sense. And they give you so many tools on the course that you're like, well, not only do I feel stupid, but I feel empowered. And it's just kind of the two things together. I don't know, it worked. And it worked for me. Like I said, I didn't smoke cigarettes for 10 years. However, not 10 years, it was 5 years. In that time, I did smoke, I was still smoking pure weed. Now, at the time, everyone was like, oh my God, how do you smoke pure weed? And I'm like, well... I actually managed it well, and it's funny because I would get a lot more high, and I do get a lot more high smoking a spliff that has cigarette in it with the weed versus just smoking the weed one. Anyway, so I was just smoking idle pure weed for many, many years, and then I think it was 2020, I don't know, things started going a lot better in my life. If those of you who know me and know my story, you know I've come from the gutter. I am poorer than poor, right? And 5 years ago, I had not ever been on a holiday. I'd been on one holiday when I was little tell a lie. One holiday when I was little. My first holiday I went on when I was 7. Again, I see now that was a privilege, but I don't know. Went on one when I was 7, and then when I was I had just had Rocco, so I must have been about 22, 23. My mum and stepdad took us on holiday. So from that point, when I was 23 up until 35, I hadn't had a holiday. And I don't know, there was just... Let me not digress and make this about that, but I ended up going away. I took myself off to Morocco. If you're old Instafam, you'll remember this. It was a very big thing for me because it's like, at the time, I know I did a lot. I know people think, managing my children and stuff is a lot, but at the time, for me, going to an airport by myself, getting on a plane, going to a foreign country was some scary grown-up shit. And I don't know, I had to do it. So I went on this trip to Morocco, but I got to Morocco, I stepped off that plane, and you see when that hot air hits you, I was just like, nah, I want 20 Marlboro Lights and a vodka. And I don't even drink. And obviously I'd been 5 years no smoking. Now, because I'd got there and I didn't obviously have any weed, that wasn't the time when I felt comfortable travelling with stuff, and I didn't have any weed. didn't even want to try, and I wasn't confident enough to even try and get hashish out there. I don't know. So I really felt like I needed to smoke. So I ended up getting some cigarettes out there, and I smoked on that holiday. Now, when I came back, I didn't smoke anymore. I literally, that was it. I was done with the cigarettes. I was like, oh, that was disgusting. For whatever reason, it really was not appealing to me in this country. But then I started kind of social smoking. So I don't go out very often, but I would go out and then I'd have a few cigarettes, or if I ever went out for dinner with Stacey, I'd be like, oh, give me a fag afterwards. Like, just have that cheeky little one here and there. But I still wasn't smoking cigarettes. And then, this is obviously a couple of years ago now, that night, Stacey told me that Lottie had passed. I just got up, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I just got in my car. I remember I drove to Tooting, because where I live, you're never going to get a box of cigarettes at 2 o'clock in the morning, but I drove to Tooting, and I just bought a box of cigarettes, and I bought a bottle of Baileys, and I come home, smoked the box of cigarettes, drank the Baileys, and I just carried on smoking from then. I haven't stopped. I've literally just been smoking 20 a day since then. And honestly, I don't know, if it wasn't for the money side of the things and the fact that my children hated it, I don't think I'd care. Yeah, I do understand that of all the vices in the world that I could have, that is not the worst one. Sorry, if you're watching this, I'm literally wiping my eye with a dirty sock, and I'm really sorry about that. What was I even saying? Back to my point. I've fucking started smoking again. Wrongly or rightly, it was what it was. And I don't know, I didn't feel bad about it, and I haven't felt bad about it up until recently when my chest is so bad. I'm just going to be open and honest with you. My chest is terrible. I wake up in the morning, I am wheezing. I go to bed wheezing. And I find it disgusting. I also am not it's not like I smoke and like I love it. Like, my nana smoked my whole life, and do you know what? She's always been a crazy smoker, because she will literally like wrap her hair up, go outside, she'll smoke the cigarette, she doesn't let anybody see her smoking, and then she comes in, she scrubs her fingers, puts her lip gloss on and sprays her perfume. It's like she hates it. She doesn't want to smell of smoke, and she would always say to me, don't smoke on the streets, darling, like it's disgusting, sort of thing. So I've always like smoked, but I'm just like, oh, it's disgusting. I'm aware that I smell. I'm aware that, I don't know, I look like I look, and you don't expect me to be someone who says, yeah, I smoke 20 cigarettes a day. I remember I was seeing a guy once, and I told him, and he just looked at me, he's like, you look really good. I don't know if that's a fucking compliment or what, but I don't know. I know it doesn't make sense that I smoke that much, but I just do. And the thing is, the problem is, I think I'm such an extremist. It's not like I can get a box of cigarettes and then I'll just think, oh, well, I'll smoke 5 today, 5 tomorrow, 5 the next day. I get a box of cigarettes and my brain's like, all right, well, let's just smoke them all. Holiday's the worst for me as well, because it's all duty free. I will literally have like 3 boxes of cigarettes on the go, and then before I know it, I've smoked 30 cigarettes or maybe 40 cigarettes in a day, which is fucking wild. But I tend to smoke to my capacity. This is well as why, because people always, my weed guy, I see my weed guy so many times a week, and I know he's just like, why don't you buy big bits? But I can't. If I buy a ½ ounce of weed, I'm going to come home and smoke that in 2 days. If I buy an 1/8 of weed, I'm going to come home and smoke that within 2 days. Like, I don't know what it is about myself. I know a bunch of you are probably just going to message me and be like, Tamara, you've got special needs. But I mean, the fuck, what kind of special need is that? It's just, I don't know. I just feel a lot stupid about it, to be honest. But back to this whole thing. Do you know, it's funny because one of you messaged me a little while ago and you said to me that smoking is grief related. And it kind of just made a lot of sense to me. And I think of late, I don't know. I don't know how you're ever supposed to feel better about some situations. I guess you just time, isn't it? You just get time, and then I guess things feel further away, so they feel easier to deal with. But I think ever since that, I have just really had a sense of, I don't fucking care. Look, I just don't care. Smoke the cigarettes, drink the drink, eat the fucking bacon, fuck that guy, tell that person about this. I just don't care anymore. I mean, I've never really been too much of a caring person anyway, but now I'm just really like, I don't fucking care. But I do care, but I don't care. But this is why when I told you this podcast was going to be a mess. Anyway, I wanted to do this podcast because I think the saddest thing about this is I felt so kind of empowered and like, yay, I've done it, when the children weren't here, that when they came back, and I was like, they came back, I said this on my story, I was like, not only did I want to smoke a cigarette, I wanted to smoke some crack. Like, there's nothing like a bunch of kids that you spawned yourself to make you feel like you're fucking insane. And so they came back, and I was so excited to tell them, because remember, this is half the reason I've done this, and most of them they just didn't care. I think Kale cared, but the rest of them just don't fucking care. And I just thought, oh my God, like, well, that just makes sense, doesn't it? Because they don't care about anything I do from them, let's be fucking real, and they probably won't until they get older, but I don't know. They just didn't care, and I felt it's so stupid to say, but I just felt almost very anticlimactic, like, oh wow, you've done all of that for them, and this is why you shouldn't do things for other people. This is why I think I'm struggling now as well, because I've not really done this for myself. I've done this because I think I should do it for my children. I've done this because I think I shouldn't be spending all the money, and I've done this because I think my health should be better. But do you know what the funniest thing is now? Ironically, I feel more ill because I have I've not smoked cigarettes, but I have got these. I bought them last time I attempted to give up smoking. I've got these, they're called herbal cigarettes. They're like stage cigarettes. They're what people, if you see someone smoking on EastEnders or whatever that doesn't smoke, they're smoking them. They've got no nicotine, nothing in them, they're just herbal, but they're fucking disgusting. And I woke up this morning and my chest is so bad. And I think now it's getting worse because I'm smoking so much weed. And the funny thing is, the irony, I'd kind of enjoyed the cigarettes because it made me smoke less weed, because I've realised, wrongly or rightly, I enjoy smoking. I need to smoke. I mean, they tell you in this course, people who smoke are people who don't breathe. And I've really been trying to do my breathing this week, but it's just, I'm not going to say it's not working, because I am day 9 of no cigarettes, but I don't feel very good. And that's what I say. That's what I mean. I feel like if I can get through this period and then evaluate the situation, see how I feel, because I always feel like this. Most of us do, don't we? A couple of days before a period, it's just diabolical. So I don't think a cigarette would change that. And do you know the wickedest thing is, when I initially gave up cigarettes, wrong language, stopped smoking cigarettes, all those years ago, 10 years ago, I quite quickly had a test. So like, it had been a couple of weeks since I'd been on that course, and something awful happened. God, it was with Stacey again. Why me and that girl always, she just has been through the most, bless her. But it was a terrible night. When I say terrible, it was terrible. I don't even think she'll mind me speaking about this. This is such a fucking long time ago. But her cousin had a car crash. Him, his wife and his 2 kids. His wife died and the kid died in the car, and it was just, it was literally, I'm going to say, apart from everything that happened with Lottie, one of the most traumatic things that has ever happened. I remember I stayed with her, and she was just in a right state, and she ended up fucking crying herself to sleep. And at that point I hadn't smoked, and I took one of her cigarettes and just opened the window, and I lit it, and I took a couple of pulls, and I just thought, this cigarette is not changing the situation. God, sorry, I have to go and get my sock again. Me smoking that cigarette is not going to change everything that happened. Not going to make a bit of fucking difference. And I just chucked it out the window. I just chucked it. And I didn't smoke for 5 years because I just knew it was fucking pointless. And I don't know if it was like going to Morocco and just kind of opening that can of worms again, or just, I don't know. I don't even know what it was after Lottie. Maybe it was just a sense of, I don't know, losing control. That was the wickedest thing. Just not even my fucking daughter. I don't know. Watching Stacey go through that was fucking mad. But point is, it doesn't fucking change anything. And do you know what the funny thing is? Bless Abby. I called Abby this morning because I was in such a fucking state. I was talking to ChatGPT, trying to find some sort of fucking sense. And she just said to me, she just reminded me of that again. She was like, what is smoking a cigarette going to do right now, Tam? She was like, what's it going to change? And I thought, fuck, it's going to change absolutely nothing. But you think in that moment it will. And I guess for me, it's back to that thing I was saying before. I hate being uncomfortable. I hate not feeling good. I am a good time girl. Every day, fun times. And it's just like, this is so not fucking that. And I just want it to be over. And I'm like, fuck, for the sake of a cigarette or whatever, just do it. And do you know what's not helping? God bless you all. I love you so much. But I've had quite a few of you. I've been having a nervous breakdown on my stories, and I've had so many of you message me to say, Tamara, just smoke the fucking cigarette. Just smoke the cigarette. And I'll tell you why that's not helping, because I'm so easily led. And you know when like you're doing fucked up things, or you want to do something fucked up, all you really need is just someone to say, yeah, do it. And you're like, yeah, okay. And now I've got like 50 people like, just do it. And I'm like, oh, God's sakes. And I don't know. I just don't want to give up. But anyway, I've just yapped so much shit. The whole point of this podcast was I wanted to actually tell you how I'd done this for those of you who were interested. Because what I will say is this. I feel like if you're not as fucking mental as me and you don't have all the things that I'm trying to deal with, because this is another thing. ChatGPT today was like, hold on a minute, you're not a failure. He was like, you're trying to do this, this and this on top of solo parenting 5 children, or 4 if we're not including Rocco. And that's one thing I don't ever do, is give myself really much of a break. And that is purposefully, because I don't believe sitting there going, oh, poor you. Oh, I don't think that helps. I really don't think that fucking helps. You're better off just going, no, not poor you, dickhead. Pull up your socks, get on with it. And that's how I treat myself. And not to be unkind to me so I can survive. I cannot afford to lie there crying, stroking my own hair like, oh, your life's so fuck that. But what he was saying was, you know, you've got a lot to deal with. You are battling with a lot. And my point is, you know, I know we've all got shit we're battling, but I feel like if maybe you are not trying to contend with us as much as me, you could use the techniques that I've used and actually battle this shit a lot easier than I have and get past this smoking thing. And so this is why I wanted to do the podcast. Anyway, so we're going to talk about that because there were a few particular things. And I'd said previously, for me, it's the 72 hours. So this whole thing started with knowing that I had at least I had a week, but I knew I had at least the 3 days to be by myself and just work, just not. Because the thing is, I'm totally unbothered if I'm by myself, but it's the little triggers. The tiniest of triggers will have me blowing up like a psychopath. So I just literally locked myself in my house for 3 days. And that teamed with, and I know we're all going to be like, really, Tamara, are we back promoting them? I mean, these people still hate me and I hate them even more now, but I've got to give credit where credit is due. The NMN, I think, has been a major flipping help in all of this. Because if you remember back to when I was telling you what had happened with the NMN people, I'd had this idea to kind of do some marketing around the fact that you can use it for, you know, in the detoxification process. And I kind of really, I don't know, I started to do a bit more research on that. And it turns out the guy who founded AA, he's actually a big supporter and promoter of the use of B3 in this process of like coming off of alcohol and whatnot. And so I just basically applied that to coming off of the nicotine. And what I will say is this, I have attempted this stop smoking thing before, and it's been a thing where I have really lacked control. Like my control is just, I have no fucking control, let's put it that way. And this was the first time around because normally when I've tried to do this before, I've tried to do it a couple of times and it's almost just like I'm a crazy person because I have to completely get all cigarettes out of my house. I can't be around cigarettes. I have to make sure Rocco's got no cigarettes, and I have to make sure I'm not going to be around or see any of my friends who have a cigarette, okay? Because I have no control and I'll just be like, give me one, give me one, give me one, give me one. So every time I've done it, it's kind of been really isolating because I'm having to cut everybody and everything off. Anyway, this time I'm like, that is so fucking stupid. Like, you're not going to be able to live if that is how you're going to have to be to do that. So I just decided to just not do it that fucking way, right? So I've just lost my whole train of fucking thought. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Which actually makes sense considering I'm now smoking pure weed for fucking breakfast like an absolute loon bucket. God. I think I'm going to cry again. I did tell you this podcast was going to be a mess. I don't even know what the fuck I was going on about. Maybe one day. Actually, no, one day when Spotify buy this podcast for £20 million, we'll have a budget. Someone will be sat over there with a piece of paper and right now they'll scribble on it, you were saying this tomorrow, and hold it up, and I'll be like, and then I can just style it out. But until then, I'm just going to have to be dickheads together. Anyway, I think I was talking about the NMN. Let me get back to that. So I've started taking the NMN. I wanted to double my dose, but with the NMN, it's really harsh on your stomach, so you can't take it at the same time. So what I was doing was getting up in the morning, taking it first thing on an empty stomach, and then taking another one around lunchtime. You don't want to take it too much later than that because it is a hell of a lot of energy and you will just literally be awake. But I think that really helped with the control, because this time around I've managed to keep cigarettes in my house. Like, I've got a box of cigarettes upstairs, and I have been around people who have got cigarettes, you know, and something happened the other day. Oh my God, I had a little flipping... I don't even know what happened. There, if you live in my area, by the way, in Wallington, there are people doing like little car crash scams, okay? And I think I got caught up in one. It was just a bit of a madness. But when this all happened, I was on my way to my friend's house and I just called her. I was just like, I'm going to ask you for a cigarette. I said, don't fucking give it to me. And then when I got there, I didn't ask because I was like, you're a fucking idiot. But that was my only little thing. But again, it's just that reminding myself, a cigarette's not going to change the situation. It's not going to uncrash the you know, it is what it is. And so with this NMN, my breath and my mindset, they are basically the three things I have used, because between the NMN and the mindset especially, I think has helped, because again, it's just that reminding yourself of, you know, first of all, the pangs don't last. They're just, that's it. It is a little pang. It comes as soon as it goes as soon as it comes. Just a little pang. It's not going to last forever. You know, it's about reminding yourself that it's not going to change anything. I think that's the biggest thing for me, is like, I don't even know why I'm smoking these. Like, what do I think is going to happen every time I smoke a cigarette? And I don't know. The whole thing's baffling because I'm obviously not smoking them for major change, but it's like, what do I expect is going to keep happening? I don't know anyway. So I've just been really, really best friending myself. I've said this before. We've all got a voice in our head, but you've got to learn to develop another voice that's louder than that voice, because more time, that little voice is such a dickhead and it just yaps so much negative, stupid stuff at you. You've got to have a bigger voice that goes, hold on a minute, you can do this. You're more than capable. This is going to be easy. And this is kind of how I've done most of this, is just telling myself I can. And I know that sounds crazy, but a lot of this just comes down to mindset. If you want to know how I've become what I've become, it's purely mindset. You've got to tell yourself that you can. But I don't know, again, this being so close to my period, I'm not like this normally the day before my period. I don't think I can do anything. I want to give up on everything. I'm like, you're terrible, your life's terrible, your kids are terrible, everything's shit, give up. Honestly, last night I was like, cancel the babysitter, fuck the podcast, just give up. Go and get a job in Asda. And then I was like, oh, you're due on your period. Anytime I think I want to go and get a fucking job in Asda, yeah, I know I'm due on my fucking period. So I know I've just got to ride this wave, but it's not easy. It is not easy. But it's that, in those moments, now I've got to go, no, it is easy. No, it is easy. It is easy. You're capable. You can. You're doing it. Keeping on. I mean, I still haven't broken. I did, full transparency, I held a cigarette this morning and I just sat there and cried. And then I felt even more stupid because I'm just like, you are not all right. But do you know the wickedest thing is? These, do you know nicotine it's got the same addiction levels as crack, right? But it's socially acceptable. So if you're ever wondering, like, if you don't smoke and you're wondering, how can this woman be this insane over a tiny little smoky stick of doom? It's because I'm basically, it's the equivalent to me having a crack. Have you seen how crackheads act? They will rob you, to buy their crack. Like, I'm obviously not going to rob you to buy my cigarettes because they're a little bit more affordable. But, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. And like I said, I don't know where this is going to end up. I don't know how this is going to go. Honestly, I was just like, just get this podcast done and then do whatever you need to do. And that's the thing, I'm just so on the fence at the moment, because it's like, half of me is like, yeah, you need to do this for your health, do it for your kids, do it for yourself. And the other half of me is the same. I'm like, no, you need to smoke for your health and for yourself and for your kids, because you're not nice. Like, I've not been nice today. I thought I was going to be a much nicer person. I'm not. If anything, I've turned into like some mummy that's just like, I don't know. I'm like, I can't even explain it. I'm not like evil or anything, but I've just become like really firm in the last couple of days, and I've got no capacity for anyone's shit. Normally I'll give a few warnings or whatever. Last night I said, stop that please. or you're going to go to bed. And normally I'll do that 3 or 4 times. That was it. They made one more sound. I went, fucking that's it. Brush your teeth, get into bed. Wah! All right, mental. Like, I don't want to be that mum. I don't like it. That's why I stay smoking weed, you know, because kids will have you fucking acting like that on a daily basis. Smoke a bit of weed, you're feeling nice. But this whole lack of cigarette thing, and again, I thought I had mastered it because it's only supposed to stay in your blood for 3 days. There is a chance it can stay in there up to 21 days if you've smoked a lot, which I guess I have. But I feel like after the 72 hours, it's no longer physical withdrawals you're having, it's mental. And if it's mental, you're able to beat it because it is literally just mental. But again, easier said than fucking done. Anyway, you do realise in amongst all of that, right, last week when I had decided to give up like a fucking 25-year-old habit, I started reading Reddit, right? And Reddit said, someone on Reddit had said they'd fasted, right, when they'd done a weed detox and they felt great. And then because I know how the fasting works in terms of detoxification, I know, like, if you're going to do a 72-hour fast, like, your body's going to fucking eat up and spit out anything that's not good for it, right? Including all that nicotine. So I was like, oh, do a fast. Completely forgetting that I was obviously already fucking feeling mental because I'd stopped smoking. Oh, that nearly sent me over the edge. I was not okay. And I don't know which one of you lot messaged me saying, Tamara, just have something to eat. But thank you, because I needed that. And I did eat something. And I felt so much better. And do you know what? It's funny. I know you're not supposed to give up everything all at once. It's actually not even good for you doing it like that. Because again, I stand by the fact that stress is the number one killer. Stress is what's going to kill you. The cigarettes won't kill me. Probably the stress of trying to give them up will. That's the fucking irony, right? So that's just another thing. But anyway, so in amongst all of this, I've decided to do this fast, which was very fucking stupid. But I'm obviously just trying to detox and get this nicotine out of me. And alongside that, I was like, oh, I'm going to go and have some saunas. I told you I spent stupid money last week. I literally spent £120 on sitting in a hot box last week. Yeah, that never again. In fact, if anything, I'm now like, I need to save up and get my own home sauna because they're so beneficial, but they're just not cost effective. Anyway, I went and had a couple of saunas. Now, I'm going to tell you about both these saunas just because if you're local, you might find it interesting. I don't know. But first of all, the first sauna I found was in... there is a place in Sutton that my beautiful Layla she loves it. She loves it. It's called Oru Space, and it's a crazy little place. It's like a co-working space, and there's a cafe, and then there's like all these little offices that you can rent there, and there's all sorts of things that go on there. And in trying to find a sauna, I found a sauna in there. There's a sauna in there. There's a little place called, oh my God, it's called the Wellness Pod or the Whole Pod or something like that, the Wellbeing Pod. And in there, they've got an infrared sauna. And on top of that, they have this hyperbolic oxygen, hyperbaric, don't know what I'm fucking saying. If you know what I'm trying to say, please help me out. It's basically a place that pumps good oxygen into you, a little machine thing. And then there was like this freeze your body machine. Anyway, I was like, oh, this sounds amazing. So I went along there. They make you book all these fucking consultations, which is annoying, but went along there, had this consultation and booked this infrared sauna, and afterwards I was going to go in this oxygen chamber. Now imagine, I've gone into this place and all these 3 machines are in this one little room. It's a really tiny space. Now there's the hyperbaric oxygen chamber thing, like on the back wall, and like in front of it is this tiny little screen. I do like a little room divider sort of thing. So sorry, I'm just setting the scene for you guys, right? So I've gone in there, taken off all my clothes, gone and sat in the sauna. I'm in the sauna, I'm saunaing. And then I've come out, right? Now, bear in mind, I think I'm in this place on my own, like having this private fucking sauna. I've come out of the sauna and I was like, oh, better get some content for Instagram. So I've got my phone and just like peered behind the flipping, what I thought was just a screen for decoration. Tell me why there's a woman lying like a dead person, yeah, in the hyperbaric chamber. I fucking shit myself. I was like, what the fuck? Imagine, I went out, back to the reception. I said, excuse me. I said, do you not think you should have told me there was like a whole human in there while I'm taking my clothes off? I said, I could have been picking my bum. I could have been picking my nose. More realistically, I could have just filmed this poor woman in the hyperbaric oxygen chamber because I didn't know she was in there. And the girl was like, oh, I'm really sorry. It's not a private. What do you mean it's not private? The room was as big as my kitchen table and I'm not in there privately. I don't know, the whole thing just put me off. But because I think I was obviously doing my cold turkey thing, I just wanted to fucking kill the woman and set fire to the place, which was a very stupid overreaction. But I just, was not impressed with that. Anyway, I left. But one good thing, when I walked out of there's this drink I've been trying to find for so long. You know that sex education woman, Gillian from X-Files. She's made these new drinks and I've been dying to try one. Anyway, they had them in there, so I took that as a good sign. Got one of them. Drink was a bit shit actually, but anyway, let me not digress. Anyway, so that was that. And then I had remembered that, because the plan had been, I wanted to go for a sauna a day because I just thought it would really help with the detoxification. Anyway, then I remembered that the lovely, I don't know if I've mentioned this, but I have mentioned this before, but there's a Thai massage place near where I live. It's called Healing Hands Thai Spa. And oh my God, do they have healing hands. Like the women there are healers. They are healers. There's one lady called Punapat, she's the owner, and one lady called Pom. Between those two, I don't have problems. But they've got a sauna there, and I booked that, and I'd booked a massage. Now, I booked a massage with a therapist I'd never had before, and on the way there, I'd had a little. Again, this is what I mean about the law of attraction. It's so important that the frequency you're on is a good one. Otherwise, you're just going to attract shit into your life. I was driving down the road to the massage place, which is really not far. It's like a 4-minute drive. And there was some fucking guy on a bike being a dickhead. So I bibbed him because obviously I'm feeling mental. Well, it turns out he's a fucking mental person too. He's just pulled up next to me. Why are you bibbing me? I haven't got a license, you know. Blah, 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 telling me all this mad stuff. He's like, I'll write off your car. I'm thinking, I will write off your fucking life. And I'm just in the car and I'm like, just do it. Just do it. Just. I wanted to kill him, but I didn't. I just swung into the massage place. I know that man died, by the end of the day because the rage that was pouring out of my fucking... It's definitely caught up with him and killed him. I'm sorry, not sorry. Anyway, so I've gone in for the massage, but I just lied on this table. I couldn't stop thinking about the guy. It was dry. I was like, you should have just run him over. And then all I can do was visualize being back in that situation and killing him. And I just, anyway, so I got halfway through the massage and I said, I'm really sorry. I said, I just want to book in with my normal therapist and come back tomorrow. And they were so sweet. Luckily, obviously, it's my regular place. And I just left and come home and fucking cried. I just felt balls to the wall insane. But I did go back the next day when I was feeling so much better. God, it's crazy what a 24-hour difference will make. But I went back the next day, had my massage, bless them, because I'd already paid for everything. They gave me the whole massage again and then put me in the sauna and just generally cheered me up. Like, I don't know. I don't know. They're good women, especially Punapat. Like, honestly, if you need a massage, if you've got any problems, actually, I went there with a trapped nerve in my shoulder, unable to walk like a couple of years ago, and ever since I'm a changed woman. I mean, she does just tell me I need to have sex every time I go there, but whatever. Anyway, I'm gonna put those details in the bio because those women have really saved my life. But so I did the saunas, I did the massages, I was taking the NMN. Alongside that, I started taking some sea moss. I was drinking my herbal tea and I was taking my zeolite, the heavy metal detox thing. I was taking that as well because I just thought from every angle I want to try and get this done. And I'll be honest with you, I felt so good. I always say, like, you don't realise how ill smoking makes you feel until you stop smoking. That's one, she says, joking. I didn't realise how unwell I felt until I'd actually stopped smoking. And for that couple of days, I just felt so good. I felt like my frequency was high, I was vibing high, life was good, everything was going okay. But then, like I said, the kids came back. And it's funny because I often see people post and say, I hate it when my kids go to their dads because they always come back so dysregulated. When my kids come back from their dads, they're fine. I'm dysregulated. I do not cope. That day, I always try and make sure they come back at the latest possible time. I will be in my house at 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning, plans to do nothing, and I'll text my baby fathers, I'm out. I won't be back till 7 p.m. And then they won't bring the kids back till then because like I just can't. And then I know I've just got a small amount of time to get them into bed because I cannot. It's fine. When I wake up the next day, I'm fine. I'm back in mum mode. I'm back in family mode. But when I've had like just Tamara mode and then they come back in the, I don't cope with it at all. I'm very dysregulated. So they've come back. I was obviously just got dysregulated as fuck. Then I told them this, what I thought was happy, exciting news, and they really weren't excited. In fact, Knight said something to me that really pissed me off. And I just switched. I was just like, fuck off, go to your bedroom. I was like, don't even talk to me. And it just, I just felt my mood go down here. And then I just started spiraling mentally. I'm like, all these things you do for the kids, like, there's no thanks. And then I thought, why are they going to fucking thank you for not smoking? Why would they even care? Like, you're killing yourself and then you want them to be fucking grateful that you fucking... I'm a terrible mum sometimes, honestly. Terrible, terrible, terrible. But yeah. So like I said, I feel like all of that has worked really well. But and this is what ChatGPT's kind of said, like basically you are just, all these stresses have just come back and now you're just like, your normal crutch is not there. The normal thing I reach for. Because again, back to that whole thing, they say people who smoke don't breathe. And I don't think I do breathe. And so that's what I've been trying to do. Like every time I'm like, I want a cigarette, I'm just like, I've been doing that a lot, right? And there's only so much of that you can fucking do. And I just want a cigarette. And I don't know what to tell you. And like I said, this podcast is basically a mess. But I just felt like I wanted to come and share this because it was all going so well up until the children came back. But the children are my life. That's the thing. And that's why, you know, I've put a lot of things on hold. I'm not going to sit here and be mad at my children because I can't go to the gym or I can't have a boyfriend or I can't stop smoking. I'm not going to be mad at them. They're so... I was about to say temporary, they're not temporary, they're for life. But it's such a short period of time that you get your kids. Like, I'm already sad because Kale's my last baby and I know I'm not going to have another baby. I was crying the other day because Neo didn't want to watch a film with us and I'm like, I've lost my son. You get such a small bit, yeah? That bit between their like 0 and 12. It's not long. It feels forever when you're in it, but it's not long. It's like the smallest piece of time. So I don't even mind that I can't have a boyfriend. I don't mind that I, can't do all these things. I'm like, I'll go to the gym in 10 years. Get a man in 10 years. I don't care. Like my kids, I literally live for my children. Wrongly or rightly, I do. They're my world. I do everything is about them. Like literally my whole world is about them. But I don't know. I don't even know where I'm going about this. At this point, it would make more sense to just fucking smoke the cigarettes if I really was doing this for them because I'm just being a worse person. And I don't know. Don't know if this has been very good for anybody. And the wickedest thing is, can you hear my voice? I feel more ill. I had like a 4-day period where I felt so good. And now, because yesterday I was so desperate, I felt so bad and I just didn't want to give in. So I've got these I've mentioned them, I've got these stupid herbal cigarettes that Kale says smell like cat food. And they're just disgusting. And I smoked literally 4 of them yesterday and I woke up today and I think that teamed with just smoking pure weed. I actually feel worse than when I was smoking 20 a day. Is that irony? I don't know what the fuck that is. Anyway, like I said, don't let the way this is end. We still don't even know how this has ended up now. I haven't actually smoked yet. I don't know what's going to happen. But like I said, the whole point of me sharing this is because I do believe it is, she says, this is again irony, easier than we think it's going to be. I think we often make up this smoking thing in our head like it's going to be the most difficult thing. I used to do it. I think it is easier than I thought it was, no pun intended. However, can I call myself healed? And I saw this thing once and it was like, are you healed or have you just removed all the triggers? And then when I thought about it, I haven't healed. I've just removed the triggers. Like that's what I call my soft life. I now get to live a life. I don't have to be around any of these dickheads so nobody can't piss me off. But that doesn't mean I'm actually a better person. It just means I've removed all my triggers. And it's like, well, did I actually have I stopped smoking? Did I succeed at that just because I had no triggers or did I just remove all my triggers? Because the minute they've come back, I'm fucked. I'm not okay. So yeah, I don't know. But like I said, if you maybe don't have 5 children and such a high stress existence and you would like to consider it, I would say between your mindset, the NMN, and like I don't know, a little bit of detoxification, I do think you can do it. And like I said, if you can get through that 72 hours, I feel like I'm such a bad advert today. I should have probably filmed this podcast 2 days ago or in 2 days. But you know, I have to get this podcast out today. I'm filming this today and it's coming out today because I'm not going to miss another Wednesday. Even if it's late, because we're clearly past 11 a.m, there will be a podcast today. And last week we will just pretend that never happened. Oh, what the fuck? Who in the fuckity fuck is that? Oh, piss off. That's all I need at the end of my podcast. What is this, baby? Just put it in my cupboard. Not even answering that. I have enough problems today. Oh, I don't know if that's a postman or a bailiff. Fuck that entirely. Have I even got time to cut this out on my podcast? No, I haven't. I think this is just really in keeping with the tones of my podcast today. Let's be fucking real. Anyway, what's a parcel? Anyway, as I was saying, I do feel like the stopping smoking thing is not the hardest thing to do. However, it has turned very hard of late, and unfortunately, I've had to film this podcast today. And like I said, if I'd maybe done it 2 days ago or in 2 days' time, this would be coming across very different. I do realise I'm coming across as a sad failure right now, but I haven't actually failed because I haven't smoked the cigarette and I don't know what I'm going to do. And I guess a lot of you would probably be like, well, Tamara, why don't you just stop smoking it all? Because the problem is now, I actually miss the cigarettes, and it's just reminded me I really enjoyed smoking the cigarettes because I'm a smoker at the end of the day. But who can be smoking weed all day, every day? No one. And so that little thing, like for instance, I'll always have a quick cigarette for my podcast because I just need to smoke, but I do not need a spliff. I mean, in spite of how these podcasts come across, that's not what I'm doing all the time. Oh, I don't know. I really, really, really don't know. But I would say I can't come this far. I haven't come this far to just come this far. I'm going to give it a couple of days. I don't know how this couple of days is going to go. It may well be you come back to this podcast next week and I'm just here like cigarette. I don't fucking know. But I am going to keep on trying. And I did just simply want to share this because I had so many of you message me say, oh, Tamara, you've inspired me. I'm going to stop the cigarettes and whatever. And I wanted to come here and let you know I've basically done that through mindset and NMN. I know we don't like the NMN people, but that NMN has done a lot for me. I'll be perfectly honest with you. It has really... And do you know what the mad thing is? I've lost weight, and I've said this before. I think when I started taking the NMN, it really helped me with weight loss. But now, doing a double dose for a week, like I literally, my jeans, they were falling down yesterday. And I mean, that's a bit annoying because they were my new expensive jeans. I'm not even trying to lose weight like that, but it could only be the double dose of NMN. So yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. Anyway, I don't really know how to wrap this up because I feel like it's not wrapped up. I don't know how this is going to go. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe the mad thing is, I always now try and treat myself like my best friend. And if this was my best friend, I would say, smoke a fag. Smoke a fag, maybe try and cut down. Yeah. But the problem is, I'm such an extreme person, I don't do cutting down. I'm either like going to smoke no fucking cigarettes or I'm smoking 20 a day. And do you know what the wickedest thing is? I've always felt like, I don't even know what to call it. Like this is maybe a special need of mine because I am very extreme and it's almost like I annoy myself. I'm like, why can you not just smoke 5 cigarettes a day like a normal person? But Richard messaged me the other day randomly and he said, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, you've got this Kali Supra. That's how you pronounce it? Kali Supra, I think, in your chart. And he said, what it basically means is you're an extreme person. Everything extreme. It's either really, really good or it's really, really bad. It's really, really up or it's really, really down. And I was like, oh my God, that is literally my life. I have never, ever been able to just have a fucking happy medium of anything. And I mean, it's not always a bad thing, but sometimes it is. And I don't know. So I don't know if this is just because of my astrological makeup, maybe. I don't know. I'm sorry, this podcast is a bit of a mess. I'm thinking on my feet as we go along, because I really don't know what to make of a lot of this. And I do sometimes just think, God, in the grand scheme of things, smoke your fucking cigarettes, because you deal with so much. And again, in the grand scheme of things, you're not smoking crack, you're not trafficking children, you're not, doing terrible things. It's a few cigarettes, but maybe to me it's, I don't know, maybe it's just a mountain I feel like I've got to climb. Or maybe it was just part of my Mercury retrograde lessons. Richard did say to me, so at the beginning of this retrograde, I was like, I'm going to stop smoking. And he was like, no, you're not. I was like, thanks, Richard. But I thought that time had passed, and I just felt really like I could do it. But I do just honestly feel like now, if I smoke, I've wasted a week. I've wasted my time off. I could have gone to Greece for a week. That's what my plan was. I was going away for a week. Could have enjoyed 80 Marlborough Lights on a beach, getting a tan. Instead, I've sat here crying. The things I was crying about last week as well. Tell me why I'm crying about my mum. Why are you crying about your mum? You know that woman is terrible. You know, I already know she doesn't fucking love me. What am I crying about? I'm a 40-year-old woman. And so it's like, what, all of that was in vain? Really? I don't think I can let that be so. I don't know. I did consider yesterday buying one of those timed safe things, just putting 5 cigarettes in it a day and then timing it to open once every 2 hours. And I was like, no, you're a proper crackhead. Like, just proper fucking crackhead. Anyway, this podcast has been a bit useless, hasn't it? But I mean, at least we've had a catch up. I mean, is this a catch up? I don't know. Anyway, I am going to wrap this up, because honestly, I just want to go and fucking cry and go to the toilet and see if I've got my bloody period yet. Pray for me. Anyway, next week, I do plan on getting myself back together and filming some better podcasts for you. And I had promised this podcast, which I now don't think is as interesting as I thought it was going to be, but I'm going to do the podcast you have all wanted and been waiting for, probably since the dawn of Tamara. And that is the Smoking Weed While Pregnant and Breastfeeding podcast. I obviously can speak on this from experience, and I'm probably the only person brave enough to talk about this, so I'm going to do that. Because like I said, I get, that's probably like the number one message I get. Anyway, so that's going to be next week. We're going to talk about smoking weed while breastfeeding and pregnant and all of that jazz. And I promise you that's going to be an interesting podcast. It's going to be a damn sight better than this one. Won't be crying, that's for sure. Anyway, guys, just thank you. I think I say this a lot, and especially if you've been following along on Instagram, it's almost like free therapy for me, which is not okay. And honestly, you can really, I should have started this with a warning and just said don't watch it if you're feeling sensitive, because one thing about me is if I'm having a bad time, I very rarely reach out to my friends. I don't, even today, like having to call Abby in such a state, I felt bad for Abby, because I know feelings are contagious. I know most of you love me because I make you feel good. Let's just be fucking honest. You don't love me because I'm reveling in misery with you for most, and this is why I've still got men calling me 10-20 fucking years later, like, I make people feel good. But the flip side to that is, because there's always a flip side, my capacity to make people feel bad is as big as it is to make them feel good, if not even bigger, which is a really sad thing. But I tend to just keep myself to myself, because I feel like I don't want to infect you guys or my friends with how bad I feel. And I know that sounds crazy, but that is just how I feel. So I tend to keep a lot to myself, and I don't know, sometimes I'll do podcasts. I've done a podcast before that's been a bit just, and I'm like, I watch it back and I'm like, you shouldn't have done that to people. Like, should have at least given a fucking warning. Anyway, maybe let's just all take a deep breath in and say, I call all of my power back to me. God, I should have probably done that yesterday. Why am I only having this bright idea now? I call all of my power back to me. All right, let's just do that. Let's not let people on the fucking internet and their silly first world problems bring us down, eh? Anyway, but I just want to say thank you, because I don't know, I feel a lot better for being able to do all this. It's funny, because sometimes I watch this back and I'm like, God, you're such a mess, you're such an embarrassment. But then it's made me feel so much better. I'm just like, let it go. It's what it fucking is. All a bit embarrassing sometimes, eh? Such is life. Anyway, I am just sorry about this. If any of you are feeling down listening to this, that was not my intention. Have hope, and also just know this is just my period. I always say to people, don't listen to me when I'm like either this close to my period or on it. I call it like period talking. It's like drunk talking. You don't know what you're saying, you're just chatting shit because you feel ridiculous. So yeah, maybe don't know, things are not as bad as I am sounding right now, I can assure you. In fact, probably give me 2 days, everything will be fucking awesome. Anyway, I will be back next week with something way more upbeat and awesome and more interesting. And just thank you for listening. God, this has been a long podcast. I'm literally wrapping this up right now. I'm gone. I love you so much. Just stay amazing. If you've stopped smoking too, stay strong. We can probably definitely fucking do this. I love you. Mwah.